guys, welcome to Amy's Autopsy Report. My name's Amy. This video is going to be a list of Amy's essential October watches. A lot of horror channels are doing the 31 days of horror or 31 days of Halloween or whatever it is. I cannot make that many videos in October. My work schedule is usually crazy. I'm also preparing for winter. I have animals, so I have a whole lot of stuff to do on my days off, and I don't get that many days off to begin with. So I thought I'd make you a video and show you a lot of what I watched during October. Now, there are some movies that I left out of here that are obviously also included. They're kind of like no-brainers, like Friday the 13th is always, a watch. Nightmare on Elm Street's always a watch. I do have Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween, in the stack of movies, but I have a huge stack of movies. Also, there were a couple that I couldn't find to add to my list, and that was the original Dawn of the Dead by George A. Romero and the movie Pumpkinhead. I'm sure all of you have heard of both of those movies. If you have not, watch them both immediately. They are both excellent. Now, this watch list sort of varies. I mean, obviously, it's not the exact same watch list every year. I'm going to show you what's in my watch list this year. But before I get into these stacks of movies, because I have a lot of them, I want to show you, I got two awesome Halloween cards sent to me by a couple of friends, and I thought it was really cool that they thought of me. This one, something on my arm. I thought maybe it was a spider or something. It wasn't. This card is from Amanda Cisco, and she is at Halloween Homemaker on Instagram. Check that out. This is like a lighted display that is in her area. She lives in Minnesota, near Minneapolis, and or maybe she's in Minneapolis, I can't remember. But at any rate, this is part of a lighted display that is near where she lives, and she took photos, and she made me a card out of it, like this awesome little Halloween card. And I thought that was really cool. So thank you, Amanda. I really appreciate you thinking of me. And then this next one is like this little October card that my friend May crafted. Excuse me. And look at this. This thing is so adorable. I love it so much. I mean, look how cute that little bottle cap is with the Bride of Frankenstein. It's just really cute. And yeah, I love this so much. So thank you, May, for thinking of me. So those are the two cards I got. So let's get into the movie piles. One that is on my list every single year is, and it's actually in my player right now. I watch this movie a lot of times during the year. This is a childhood favorite, and that's Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. This is the Walmart, like, pop art edition that was popular last year. I got it for super cheap. That's the only reason why I bothered getting it. Because I didn't have the movie, and this is a movie that I've loved ever since I was a little kid. The Birds. Excellent. Some classics. Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein. I just watched this one like a week ago or something. Dracula. Some of these are tapes. I have tapes and DVDs. The Creature from the Black Lagoon. This is a box set I just got recently. It has all three Creature films. I like all three of them. I've only watched the original one so far this October. Always I watch some form of the Cryptkeeper. Demon Knight, whether it's Tales from the Crypt. There's always Cryptkeeper on the October list. October reminds me of my childhood. So a lot of the movies I choose are movies that I watched as a kid. with some exceptions, because I do have some newer movies in here. But a lot of my watch list is older movies that I watched as a kid and that I loved as a kid. Rawhead Rex. This is a pretty awesome cheeseball monster movie. I mean, look at this. Look at the back of that. This has actually just been released. I can't remember who released it on Blu-ray, but it is on Blu-ray now. This previously, I don't believe, had a release. I could be wrong about that, but anyway, Rawhead Rex. I believe this is a Clive Barker story. Yeah, it's a Clive Barker story. It's an excellent monster movie. Super cheeseball. Children of the Corn. I mean, October, hello, awesome. Reminds me of every October of my life living here in Ohio is full of corn. So as soon as the corn starts to dry up, I'm always ready to watch Children of the Corn. Night of the Comet. This is a classic. I love this movie so much. I mean, I probably saw this movie when I was like 10 or 11 maybe, and it's always been a favorite, and I usually watch this a few times a year. This movie I remember seeing in high school, I think. Or shortly after high school. Jacko. It's harvest time. This is a super cheeseball, like, slasher movie. It's got Linnea Quigley in it, and it's about this guy who has this pumpkin. He kind of comes to life from a nursery rhyme, and he kind of goes around killing people. It's pretty bad, but I love it. I love anything that takes place on Halloween. Speaking of things that take place on Halloween, this is a newer movie called The Barn. I really enjoy this. It has a real good 80s vibe to it. This is the big box VHS. They just released this on Blu-ray. And the Blu-ray, I believe, has 90 extra minutes of, like, extras. This, of course, doesn't have any of that. Linnea Quigley is also in this for a real brief part. But this is a fun watch. I mean, if you get the chance to watch The Barn, I had a lot of fun watching this one. These are the killers. Cool in my book. Ghoulies II is always on the list. I love this movie. I love the Ghoulies. I love the Critters. The Critters are always on my list. I don't think they're in my stack here, but they're always on my list too. Critters movies and Ghoulies. I mean, if you haven't seen some of these, if you like 80s monster movies, you should really check them out. I mean, to me, this is all common, no-brainer stuff, but of course, I can't get through the Halloween season without my Bruce and the Evil Dead. This video was sent to me by Eric over at Symbiotically Geeky, and it is my Congress video release, which I'm super, like, proud to own. And, yeah, this is cool. Very cool. Come on, everybody's seen this. I watch this, like, a ton of times during the year. John Carpenter's Halloween. Return of the Living Dead. This is a cool, tape to own because this is, I believe, the first release of Return of the Living Dead. So all the audio, the original audio is on this tape. The Scream Factory edition, I believe, had all the original audio except for one song. I think there was one song they couldn't get the rights to or something. But the tape has all the original stuff. So that. Creep Show. House of Wax. Anything with Vincent Price. I have a number of his movies. I love Vincent Price. I've watched him for as long as I can remember. And now comes to some DVDs. Actually, let me do the kid movies first, because I do have some kid movies on the list. This is just a cheesy, like, How to carve faces for Halloween with Gordy Falk, the Pumpkin Man. It's only 30 minutes. See, some of these kid ones are only like 30 minutes, so you can watch like a couple of them or 2 or 3 of them at once. Alvin and the Chipmunks, Trick or Treason. I love Alvin and the Chipmunks, you guys. I do. So I have this one, and the next one's Alvin and the Chipmunks also. It's Alvin and the Chipmunks meets Wolfman. I know there's a Dracula one out there, I think. It's either Dracula or Frankenstein, but I don't have that one yet. But I do love this one, and I watch it a lot. And Halloween night, I always, always, always watch It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Usually this gets watched during the year and also multiple times during October because it's like my entire childhood is like this. Okay, so on to the DVDs. Or Blu-rays. Actually, I've got both of those here. This is a classic, highly underrated, I think. The Funhouse. Tobe Hooper directed this one. I think. Yeah, Tobe Hooper. Awesome. Excellent slasher. Fright Night. This is just good horror comedy. Excellent. Hatchet. The Hatchet films, I love all 3 of them. I think they're a lot of fun. They all use practical effects. Some of them are over the top, but highly enjoyable. Victor Crowley is a really good character that they created. The stories are fun. It's full of cameos. I love the Hatchet movies, and I typically watch those during the year too at some point. Here's one that's a little lesser known. It's called Hako Lantern. It takes place on Halloween night. It's kind of like this curse, and this ancient evil is supposed to come on the night of Halloween. This is a bootleg. It's a crappy bootleg. Look, there's like nothing on there. This was actually just released by Massacre Video, and I really need to pick up a legit copy because this is just the movie, and it's, kind of a crappy bootleg version, but it was just released, and it's a fun October, like, takes place on Halloween, so... Here's another childhood classic called Alligator. I saw this really young, about this kid who flushes his little pet alligator down the toilet, and because of all this toxic stuff they're doing in the city, the alligator grows giant and comes up through the streets of, I think it's New York. I think it's New York. I could be wrong. But it comes up through the streets out of the sewer and starts killing people. Awesome. This movie doesn't get talked about a lot. It's kind of like a cheesy Christine ripoff, but it's just called The Car. What Evil Drives. And I loved this as a kid. I thought this was so great. It's a fun one, I think. It's got Josh Brolin, I think, in it. Maybe it's not Josh Brolin. Maybe it's James Brolin. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This movie actually really freaks me out. I don't watch it all that often. For some reason, I've watched it more times this year than I ever have. But it usually always gets a watch in October because it freaks me out. Microwave Massacre. This is a fun one. And this is a newly added one to my list. I mean, I've seen this a few times before, but it's definitely fun. It's this guy, like, he starts, his wife has gotten this microwave, and she's, like, giving him all these gourmet meals that she's making in the microwave, and he just wants a sandwich, like, he doesn't want anything fancy. And so he eventually kills her. He kills his wife, and then he starts to eat her. Pure gold, I'm telling you. Microwave Massacre. Trick or Treat, can't go wrong. Little Sam. I love this movie. It takes place in Halloween. It's a great anthology. If you've not seen this movie, you gotta. The next two, oh, I left this one out of the kid list because it was in the DVD pile. Mad Monster Party. Yeah, it's fun. This is an old thing. Like, I don't even know when it first aired. I think it first aired probably before I was born, but I've always enjoyed it. Mad Monster Party. And last, but certainly not least, some shot-on-video goodness. This movie's called Video Violence. There's a part 1 and 2, and both of them are on this disc here. But it's basically like people who it's like just cheesy gory stuff, but it's awesome. Could this happen at your video store when renting is not enough? This is fun. Yeah, it's pretty fun. And so, yeah, that's going to do it for my October watches. This is this year's pile. I am like halfway through all of that. Yeah, give me a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know if you watch any of these movies, or if some of these like little bit lesser known movies you've seen. Let me know in the comments. And so yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Follow me at Amy's Autopsy Report, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Oh, yeah.